Now, guys, we're going to talk about adversarial growth. Adversarial growth. Who knows what that word means or what adversarial growth means? Plus, minus. No, okay, cool. Okay, before I jump into it, who's gone into this transformation in the first couple of weeks feeling isolated, feeling doubtful, feeling like they might be inadequate? Who's had those feelings when they just started their transformation, right? Who's actually even felt the feeling of feeling emotionally disrupted at certain stages? Like it feels like you emotionally can't even get yourself to eat the next meal or drive past the McDonald's or go to that. Like emotionally, you feel like completely drained and you can't even see yourself get up, right? Like who's felt that? Now, those are 100% the symptoms that people who faces any kind of a situation where they don't have a skill feel. So, guys, we are not unique. There's been studies on this. Everyone, whenever they face anything that they haven't mastered before, they feel inadequate. They feel these same things. Now, with you facing losing weight, changing your lifestyle, you are going to feel these things. You are going to feel these things. Now, what also happens the moment, and that is why I'm so happy about your question, Eugene. That's why I'm so excited about your journey and what we plan going forward. What happens the moment people overcame these obstacles, the things that they felt they could not actually accomplish, the things that they even felt emotionally disrupted by? What happened the moment they have overcame these things? The study showed that in basically all the cases, people who overcome these things that hold them back, what happens is afterwards they want to share. Who's felt after their transformation they wanted to post their results on Facebook? Like they figured something out, like they've learned something, like they've overcame something, and they want that lesson to mean something to someone else because they want to save that person from the initial feelings of inadequacy, those feelings of emotional disruption at times, because we know how painful that is, right? It can be painful. Who has felt like that emotional disruption sometimes can even make you or cause you to just stop the transformation completely? Tough, right? Now, the moment you've overcome that, the overcoming of that gives you that sense of wanting to show someone else, if you just stick it out, right? If you just cross that hurdle, then you will reap the result. It's like that little picture. I don't know who's seen the picture of that guy chopping away at the, hy grou die gaatjie en dan is hy net so ver van die diamante van stop hy. And then he gives up. Like you, the moment you started reaching that result, the moment you overcome the adversary that you're facing, the struggle you're facing, and you have that skill set, you want to save that next person from stopping right before they hit gold. That is what everyone has the desire to do. Now, what that is called is, it's called an initiation process. Now, whenever you succeed at something, you want to initiate someone else through that process faster. It is our need to contribute. Who gets that? Now, for you to contribute on that next level and to move forward onto that next level, you have to now learn how that next level works. And the only way to learn how that next level works is to actually teach someone how the previous level works. Because when do we learn the most? When we teach, right? We learn the most when we teach. So the moment you overcome that obstacle and you start teaching and you start contributing, then suddenly that becomes a lifestyle because you become the gift. Your overcoming of the obstacle becomes the gift. That becomes the lifestyle. You now live what you overcame, and you now teach who you are, who you become. And that is what adversarial growth means. You grow and start to contribute through the struggles that you actually overcome. Now, what is the problem that we face when we go through a transformation and we actually hit that wall? Guys, the biggest problem is our need to want to remove the obstacle and to think that the obstacle should not be there. We shouldn't be struggling with eating right? Like it should be easy to go to the gym. Jock's got a six-pack. Like Hunter's got a six-pack. The whole team's got a six-pack. Only me is not, that doesn't have a six-pack. So obviously it's easy for them. It's hard for me. But I shouldn't feel this. I shouldn't feel deprived. I shouldn't have emotional disruptive moments where I want to give up. I shouldn't feel these things. That is the problem. You should feel those things because you are entering a situation where you do not have the skill. So you have to overcome those feelings in order to gain the skill, in order to move to the next level, in order to actually contribute. Because that is how you become. That is how you make it a lifestyle. Who got that to that point? Isn't it incredible, right? It's incredible. We have to struggle. Now, the next thing is the moment we try and I actually had a consultation today with a lady, I won't mention her name, and I actually said, this is exactly how I hope she's on this live or watches the replay. The consultation was about her struggling to actually maintain the coaching sessions on a daily basis, getting to everything she wanted to get to. And she wanted to avoid the struggle by finding easier ways like a meal prep service or someone to or whatever the case, to try and avoid the pain of change, because she thought that way at some stage she will be able to get to overcoming that problem. Now, what is the problem here? You are avoiding the thing that's going to help you change. You have to embrace the suck. The thing that you are struggling with, that is the thing that you're going to have to overcome. That's the lesson. I call this about 10 years ago, and when we just started coaching, I called this, you have to lean into the suck and you have to do more of what you struggle with. So you have to fill your life with the things that's going to help you overcome that. Who understands that? Who struggles with sometimes eating right because they didn't prep their food? Not Eugene anymore. No, 100%. So guys, how do you embrace the suck? You prep the food. You prep the food. You know it's going to suck. You know it's going to take time. You know there's going to be a price. So you pay the price. You pay the price and you go, well, this sucks, but I'm going to pay the price. Because if I embrace the suck, then I overcome the problem. Then I get the skill and then sailing. But then guess what happens? The moment you overcome that issue, the next one's going to hit you like a ton of bricks, because that's how it works. Every time you overcome something, the next thing is going to hit you, because growth is like a triangle. I want you guys to imagine a triangle, right? At the top, we've got neutral. That is where you are right now. You are neutral. Your skills, your experience, everything is neutral. Your nice car, your nice house, your little bit of a boot bench because you had a good life to now. And suddenly there's a bit of a desire because now you're used to that level on that neutral at the top. You become complacent, you become bored, you become aware of you not actually living an optimized life. And then there's that spark of that desire. You need to maybe get more fit, you need to lose some weight, but you want more. You want more. Eugene, what was one of the first things that prompted you to start your transformation? What was the thing? Why did you start the transformation?
Because I was so unfit and unhealthy. I realized that I'm lazy to the point where it's affecting other people. So my wife would ask me to do something and I would just not do it. She would know I wouldn't do it. So I think that was something that triggered me tremendously. And then someone had a discussion with me, a one chat, and kind of made me realize that, listen, it's not good for my health, but I didn't know what to do because I've tried it a few times and failed, and every time you fail, I beat myself up so badly that I feel like a loser, and which was exactly what was happening. I mean, I was losing a bit of weight and then I just stopped and gained it back. I tried carnivore, banting, keto. I tried a 21-day Mayo Clinic diet. I tried all those things. But then, to be honest with you, I think something really hit hard when I realized I'm going to have a baby in November. So that was in the start of last year. I realized that, and I knew I would probably not be there to see him go to high school if I carry on with the way that I am. So that's, I think, what really put me into gear.
Just correct me if I'm wrong, but can I say it's because you got to a point where you wanted more for your life and for the people around you?
Yeah, definitely.
More, right? You want a high quality of experience. You wanted something sparked the desire in you to actually see that baby grow up.
Yeah.
Jy wou meer gehad het as wat jy eigenlijk gehad het. Now, the moment we go from neutral to that spark of desire to want more, what needs to happen? We need to become someone else, because who we are is giving us the experience we currently have. But what we want can only be achieved by becoming someone else. The price to get what you want is who you are. Eugene, did you pay that price? You paid that price, and you're paying that price.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't miss that guy.
You guys are paying that price to become who you want to be, right? Now, on that triangle, once you move through the desire, you go to the first point. Now, you've got the desire, you start taking action. Woo! Excited. Geldjies betaal vir Kaizen. Let's rock and roll. This is going to be sailing, right? You get your nutrition plan, you get your coaching, you get your onboarding call, like everything is going to be fine. And then you prep your meals and you have to read through 5 minutes of a meal plan. And that first brick hits you. And you go, oh, this is going to be work. I'm going to have to learn. I'm going to have to choose food. I'm going to have to think. I want it easy. Now, the moment that happens, you are avoiding the work that's going to cause the transformation. You need to lean into the suck. You need to read the program. You need to go through it. You need to ask the question. You need to creatively create. And I'm going to get to that now. Guys, transformation is not really transformation. We understand transformation completely incorrectly. Transformation is about creation, creative creation. If you want to create a statue out of marble, what do? You take a hammer and you start hitting that guy until you get the thing you want. You apply pressure to the thing you want to transform, to create the thing you want. Transformation, guys, is a process of creation through resistance and overcoming the resistance. I want you guys to get that. The moment you get that, every time you feel resistance, you will understand that it's because you are busy chiseling away at the person you are becoming. You have to feel the resistance. As hierdie maklik is, gaan dit jou nie verander nie. If it was, guys, it has to be hard. The moment it's hard, the more it sucks, the more you have to overcome, the more you fail. Eugene, you had to go through the process you went through. You had to fail. You had to do the bands again. And I promise you at this stage, okay, I can guarantee at this stage 100% that you know it was never the diet and it was never the exercise that caused you to regain, right?
No, yeah, it wasn't. The regaining in the past,
yes,
was absolutely just that I didn't get to the next step of the process. I just didn't, like you said, it got hard and then I stopped.
The moment you lose weight, and that is why Kaizen from day one, guys, I never coached people or trained people one-on-one and made people become dependent on my time. You have to give someone a skill in their own environment. You have to actually get the skill. Because if you follow a training plan, great. If you follow an eating plan, great. You will lose the weight, but it will be unmaintainable because you never solved the problem. Because how you eat and how you train is a symptom of who you are. And you can force it for a while, but you will always drop back to the level of competency you deserve in terms of your emotional and mental techniques and your mental and emotional skill set at the end of the day. Your ability to regulate yourself better, to align your actions with who you want to become. That brings us back to the triangle. So we've got neutral, where life is currently. Then we've got the desire. We want more. Then we move to action and we sign up for Kaizen. And then we experience resistance. And that is where the transformation starts. And that is what Kaizen, the team, helps you with in your environment to overcome those obstacles. And the harder it is, the happier I am. Because when someone tells me I'm struggling, I can't eat right, I can't this, and they give me a list of 50 things, I know that that's going to be the most beautiful transformation. Because the moment that person overcomes those 50 obstacles, they would have learned more about themselves than anything else they did before, because they overcame the things that were holding them back. In the beginning, you're going to go in a circle. I can't eat right because I can't prep the food. I can't prep the food because my husband cooks sweeties, and I can't stop him from cooking sweeties because he's got a sweet tooth. And it becomes everything outside you that you think you need to control in order for you to get the result you want, when it's in fact you that need to control your own self. You need to regulate yourself. You need to take ownership of your choices. And that is going to come with a hell of a lot of emotional and mental obstacles. And I'm sure everyone here, even people who are new, who just started, has felt that already, right? En gewoonlik hier teen week 2, week 3, dan slat hy vir jou hart. Nee, actually, so week 6, week 3 is jy nog baie excited. You know, jy verloor 2-3 kilos a week, like things are going beautiful. Week 6, dan raak jy gewigverlies eintlik boring. Jy weet dan denk jy, wow, like, why is this so slow? Like, only 2 kgs of fat a week? Like, shouldn't this be faster? I mean, yes, like, I've eaten right for 7 days. Het ek daai kos geëet. Ek het geprep vir 'n uur. Surely I should be losing 10 kgs a week. Guys, that is not how it works. You have to do the work, and you have to let your body do what your body needs to do. But your job is to mentally, emotionally overcome the suck, the tough stuff. And if it's easy, you're not going to change. So one thing I want you to take away, and we're going to talk more with Eugene about this. One thing I want you to take away is the triangle. Neutral. You're not a neutral anymore. You're taking action. The moment you take action, you're going to need to learn new skills to overcome the things you're going to face that is going to pull you back to neutral. If you do not overcome those things, you will slip back to your previous level of competency in terms of your mental, emotional skill set. If you overcome those things, you will slip into the next circle that's slightly bigger. Understand? Everyone gets that? Okay, who's learned anything so far? Beautiful. I've also learned a lot. Okay, just before we go to the next thing, I want to actually use another example of the triangle. I want you guys to imagine if you make pasta. Like, I'm not an Italian pasta maker, so I'm going to make this up. You take flour and you take water and a little bit of salt, I'm sure, and maybe some other stuff, but you mix, you make the dough, right? Now, if you have that dough, how do you make the pasta? You have to put that through a pasta press. You have to put the pasta through resistance to transform it into a new shape. That is what I want you to understand. Your resistance, not being able to eat right, struggling with making time, not being able to get to the gym, that is the resistance you need to face in order for you to make this a lifestyle. And you have to overcome that. Happiness. Okay, excellent. Eugene, I want to get to your question now. Can you see that what you asked, how that relates to tonight's topic? Okay, now, first of all, at the end of your question today, and I want to unpack that first. The last piece of your message says you're putting to test yourself. Sit jy daai box, ek hou van daai boxe. Jo, maar those big boxes of paaseiers, is it that those?
Yeah.
Okay, genade, no, gooi hom weg. Maar those big boxes of paaseiers, he puts them on the counter for his family, but then he resists. So he creates that simulated stress in order to test his own resilience. Am I getting that right, Eugene?
Yeah.
And your question is this a good idea?
Is it healthy mentally, long term? But you've basically answered what my question was. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing for me is that with the time that I've been on this, I've overcome so many obstacles already, and I've reprogrammed my RAS. Like when you asked, do I battle with eating, following the nutrition plan? I don't. So there's things that I'm scared that I'm going to get complacent.
Yes.
So I'm setting these little things to make things a little bit uncomfortable for myself. And I was wondering, am I doing something that's healthy for me mentally, not physically? I know I'm going to resist it, but am I putting myself through unnecessary strain, basically?
Beautiful. Eugene, I want to answer that question by asking you another question. who you have become and what you have overcome over the last 10 months and the 60 kilograms you've lost, you putting that there, is that the most authentic you are sharing with your family?
Yeah, so that would be something that's natural in our house, would be, Easter eggs on the counter. That would be part of our general household. So I understand your question. It is something I would normally do.
Okay.
In the past, I would just not have resisted it.
100%. But now what I'm asking is, because, and I'm not saying this is the case, but what some people sometimes do is they find ways to live vicariously through the people around them when they start losing weight. So it's like, you can have the chocolate, but I can't. Does it make sense? So if you have it, I resist it, then we have to unpack why we are still having the chocolate. Why aren't we not sharing something else? Why is there not a fruit thing there, or
I understand
something else? Because now we're going to old habits and making those old habits that did not serve you a part of our family still. But we're not touching it, but we're allowing other people to touch it.
I hear you. Yeah.
Does it make sense? So what I would advise, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm not saying don't do it. Stimulated stress or simulated stress is a phenomenal tool in the right hands at the right time. But also it needs to be constructive, like simulated stress doing a cold shower, or simulated stress with a workout, or stress with trying to decrease the time you take your meals in to see if you can really do it faster. And Mark even Lackader course, it's all constructive. But creating simulated stress, life is going to test you. Eugene, daar gaan baie paas eiers wees in ander mandjies op ander plekke. Don't add to it.
Yeah.
Don't add to it, because you are going to resist, yes. But ask yourself, with everything you've overcome, everything you've learned, everything you have, changed in yourself and your own lifestyle, is this still the most authentic version of you that you are truly sharing with your family? And if it is, I don't think it is. Why don't we create something new? Why don't we create a new habit? Why don't we why don't you let them in on who you are now and share that with them in a way that's constructive?
Well, that makes a lot of sense. It does.
Okay, because you 100%. So then also, I want to quickly read through this message again. Now, I faced many challenges in my weight loss journey, and I started losing motivation after that honeymoon phase. Normal, 100% normal. But dan begin die werk, né? En die novelty is alles weg. Okay, so after honeymoon phase, emotional eating, cravings, injury, weight loss, plateaus, social situations, travel, poor planning, time constraints, feeling stuck despite the progress. Can you see, like we spoke about this? Ek verloor net 2 kilos a week. Like, it took me 40 years to get here, and I want to gone like that. Eugene, 60 kilogram in 10 maande. Like, how fast do you want this to be? Okay, yeah, you're doing so amazing. Okay, now, Eugene, I want to ask you, how did you overcome emotional eating?
Firstly, I want to say that Kaizen has really changed my life. Not just my eating, not just my physical well-being, but it's changed me in so many ways that I want everybody in my life to have that, right? So I see Kaizen as a toolbox with all the different tools that you need. Even though you don't know how to use this little tool that you see there, you're going to need it.
Yeah.
Learn to use it, you'll learn to use it anyway. A dietitian, for instance, they've got their toolbox and they use their toolbox to fix your problem. And then once they leave, you don't have the tools. So here you get those tools. If you ever look at Carla's information that she shares, you're basically getting a whole degree of information in these coaching sessions. So the timing of the coaching sessions was so brilliant. When I lost motivation, I think it's in week 4 that I just started getting it. The coaching, the timing of the coaching is perfectly spot on. That's when you need that coaching sessions, just to to teach you about motivation, self-motivation, and then also that motivation is not where you should fall back to. There's a whole week just about self-motivation. So that was perfect timing. Emotional eating, it's something that I still struggle with, right? I don't go and do it. I just learned to deny myself that. And that's something that I also learned in the coaching. I think it was one of the live sessions where you discussed, you've got to sit through the suck. Those were your words. And that's what I do. I still do it. But it gets easier. So I'll still feel like I want to have this emotional meal or whatever. And because I used to eat when I was happy, I used to eat when I'm sad, I used to eat when we celebrate something, or any emotion was connected with eating. It wasn't just that now I'm sad, now I've got to eat. All my emotions linked to eating. So sit through the suck, that was one of them. And then discipline, just having that discipline not to do it. So it gets easier. There's still times that it's extremely difficult, but then the discipline kicks in. And the discipline is easy because that's something that I've now programmed into myself, is to have the discipline. Cravings, also the first week or two, you get cravings, right? Then they start going away. And then the cravings start coming back again, but big time.
Yes.
And again, on the coaching, that's when you guys teach people how to deal with cravings. And it's just perfect timing again. You listen to the guided. It's a guided meditation session, how to deal with cravings, and it's like the problem is solved. If it didn't work, just listen to it again. Or if there's a different craving or a different trigger, just go listen to that again and apply the same knowledge to the same situation. So injuries, it's a difficult one, right? I used to have a lot of pain. I still have pain in many parts of my body. It comes with being so overweight. I did a lot of damage to my body that I'm trying to repair now in a very short time. So I'm actually, yesterday, I hurt my Achilles tendon. And today was one of those times where I had to deal with the injury. I've got a goal to get my steps in every day for this month. And there's nothing that's going to stop me, even if I do it on crutches. So today I really had to sit and tell myself, listen, you're going to do this. And even while I was walking, I had to tell myself, you're going to have to go the distance with this. Even if it's slow, it doesn't matter. So I took my time. I didn't want to hurt myself further. You don't do dumb things.
Because I have to also stop you and say, please hurt yourself.
Yeah, don't do dumb things.
Reaching a goal is important, but taking care of yourself is even more important. Sometimes you have to, the destination is important, but sometimes you'll have to change your route a bit. Injury should never push through pain at all.
No. So listen to your body is what Carla always says, right? So I just don't want to use that as an excuse, because that was a go-to excuse for me. Do you want to go do this? No, my feet hurt. You want to go do this? No, my back hurt, my hips hurt, my shoulder hurt. I don't want to do anything. So I'm refusing to let that be an excuse for me. If it's something serious, then obviously listen to your body. But I wrapped my leg today in an elastic wrap thing that I got from Discam, and it was hurting during the walk. When I finished, felt better. So that compression thing really works, right? So get to know your body. I think I know my body a lot more now than what I did. For instance, walking. I realize now my hips move when I walk. I never used to be able to feel it. So it's a strange feeling for me. Okay, but I'm off topic. Then feeling stuck despite progress. That only hit me this year.
Yes.
But it was just a day or two that it got to me, right? So I've almost lost a whole human being, right? And what do? I tell Jock, listen, man, I'm only losing 500 grams a week. Now, 500 grams is already amazing. It's something not to throw away. It's good. But in the meantime, I'm starting my count. In the beginning of the year, this year, I lost a lot of weight, and then I start my count when I just had a bit of a dip, So that's where I start counting. So if I include that, then it's way more than 500 grams. And I started gymming, so I'm building a lot of muscle, retaining a bit of water, glycogen.
And that's important on that note, Eugene. The thing is, we are prone to negative, we are biased towards negativity. So the moment you only lose 500 grams, that's the week you're on the phone with my team, and there's a hunters, my jock prod. It is 12 man. Like, this was an expensive course, and I'm only, but the week you have a big drop of 2 or 3 kgs, you're like, great, good. But the result becomes the thing that makes you push harder next week. So if you don't do well, you don't push next week. If you do well, gemotiveerd, kom ons push harder. But the thing is, you have to average it out, because your body is constantly building and breaking down and changing and finding its feet. Some weeks you will have more water retention because you actually did better. Your weight will stand still, or you will drop a little bit, and you will think, wow, I did everything right this week. I wanted to see a 10 kg drop this week. Now I'm only seeing a 1 kg drop. I'm not going to put in this effort anymore. Now what happens is your body is now in that peak state. It is losing the body fat. It is retaining water for fat oxidation. It is storing more glycogen in the muscle so that it can work harder to increase body fat oxidation next week. And what do? Ons gaan eet 'n pizza, because we just lost 500 grams this week and we are fed up because for 7 days we worked super hard. Now, if you take what you've lost over the last 10 months, and you take 60 kilograms, and you look at how your body is serving you in terms of, guys, jy het 60 kilogram verander in 10 maande. If you look at a baby from 0 to 10 months, it is incredible how much that child changes, right? Dit is ongelooflik. Maar jy het nog meer as daarvan. Your body changed even more. Your body changed with 60 kilograms. So you have to take that in consideration, because now die vetselle word kleiner, die spiere moet begin groei, die activering moet gebeur. So if you average that out, guys, this is much faster than you actually think.
Yeah. So in one of Carla's coaching sessions, she just, I think it's in the nutrition, one of the nutrition modules, she talks about what's realistic in terms of the maximum amount of fat you can lose. And there's math behind it. This is a science. It's not something you can aim for and miss. If you're going to do it perfectly, the literature is there, right? So she's got the math. You can actually do it on an Excel spreadsheet. And if I have to look at what she said there and what I actually did, my nutrition is very spot on. I know it because I eat the food on my plate. So, and the results are there. So if I average it out over the 10 months, it's spot on what she said I would lose. You know?
Incredible. But now the reason I'm asking you these questions is, you asked me, if these things happen, how do you overcome these things? Can you see that you already know how to overcome these things?
I know how to overcome the things.
But now the next thing you need to do is contribution. For you to live that, because you will lose motivation if you can't share it.
Yeah.
And that is why it's so important to not put the past eiers on the table anymore, but to share what you've learned, because the quality of experience that you're having now is different from last Easter. It's completely different. Who you are now is completely different from last Easter. So the most authentic expression of who you are now and what you've learned is the thing that's going to make this a lifestyle, is the thing that's going to make you master that next level, is the thing that's going to help you initiate the people in your life to that level you are on now in terms of experiencing that higher quality of life. Hierdie bokspaas eiers, maar koop die stringetjie met die 6 op. Does it make sense? Like, don't. I've got a son. My son is 6. He's almost 7. Elke keer as ek vir hom sê, maar jy's 6, dan sê hy vir my, almost 7. So you better know. 2 maande aan sy 7. So hy kan al 2 van daai paas eiers op 'n slag kry, because he's a big boy. But I have those things in my house. I eat those things, but in moderation. So don't put extra pressure on yourself by putting things in your environment to prove to yourself it's not going to trip you up, because it's still things tripping up the people around you who do not have the skill you have yet.
Yeah, what you said earlier is something that will really stick with me now, right? Is I'm putting these little things in place, and it's not big. It's like a box of Easter eggs, but there's other things too. And it might not be unhealthy for me, but at the same time, yes, what you said about my family, but I've already got a lot of challenges on my plate without that. And my challenges are evolving. So I've got yes, I overcame my eating and whatever. I overcame a lot of things, but I'm increasing I'm in the next year now. So I've got those challenges ahead of me. Why go back to set myself up for potential failure in old things, you know?
Even though you won't fail, it's like going back and doing a grade 1 test again. Like, hoekom doen jy daai?
Yeah, I'd rather focus on the challenges that's ahead of me, because there's plenty.
100%. Let's get a bigger problem, something that's actually going to change you, because you're back to neutral now, and that's why you're losing not losing motivation, because you already overcome the struggle. So you're back at the triangle at neutral. So you need to now, your next desire is going to be contribution. But now you're going to start taking action with your contribution. And what is the first thing that's going to happen when you start wanting to contribute what you've learned to other people's life? Resistance. It's
same procedure.
Same process. Because if you tell people and you share what you've learned at Kaizen, the first thing they're going to do is, ja, maar is daar nie 'n pilletjie nie. Ja, maar ek wil nie daai doen nie. Maar ek kan nie drink nie. Ek kan nie. And then you're going to go, my goodness, guy, this is not so hard. Like, you can change your life. You can, like, al die goed waar jy nou gemoon het vir die laaste uur oor jou lewe, you can change that in a short period of time. And it's going to, you are going to be met with resistance. Now, for you to master that level of you making that a lifestyle, you have to also master overcoming the resistance you're going to get from the people you want to teach for you to move to that level. For you
it's
to
disappointing,
of course. Yeah. And that is also something that can trip you up, because suddenly you don't, and I don't know if this has happened to you. It happens to me a lot. That's why I love these live coaching sessions, because it's unscripted. Have you ever tried to explain to someone else what you are experiencing, and it feels like you're just not getting through to that person? And that is the resistance. The new skill set you need to learn is you need to learn how to relate to them, or relate to them in a way, or what you've learned to relate what you've learned to them in a way that they can understand it, to get the new gift that is you, because of your transformation. Because the moment you can do that, you will be back at neutral. You would have taught someone, you would have meant something to someone else, which means your first lesson now becomes solidified. Your lifestyle becomes solidified. You can't do a transformation in isolation, guys. Ek het 'n ongelooflike triek. Ek kry die pa in, en dan 6 maande later kry ons die ma in, en dan 6 maande later kry ons die boetie en die sussie in, and everyone eventually becomes healthy. Dis die triek. I want to make money, guys. I'm here to make money. Ek sê om te jol nie. I want to get everyone healthy. I want to become very rich. I want you to walk around feeling so amazing, experiencing so much joy, and experiencing so much energy that you come onto a life like this and you can't help but give testimony to the process you've gone through, because you haven't used pills. You haven't used fat burners and testo boosters and all that nonsense, which is legally not even allowed to actually work if it's over the counter. And if it's not scheduled. So all I goed is twak. Food stuff, fair enough, it's got a place. But the skill has got nothing to do with nutrition and training. It's got everything to do with your ability to regulate your actions. That's what this is. Okay, so I want you to think about the triangle. Next time you face adversity, next time you face not wanting to eat, next time you face not wanting to go to training, understand that overcoming that suck is the lesson you need to learn in order to go back to neutral for you to reach that next level. That's it. So it has to be hard. Every time you face an obstacle, say thank you, because that is showing you the thing you need to overcome. It's when things are hard and we are not faced with, or when we're not getting the result we want, but we're also not faced head on with the things that we can move out of our way, that transformation becomes impossible. But I don't know if you've noticed, the moment you have a desire to get something you don't have, I promise you, jy gaan vinnig daai muur sien. Hy gaan kom. And you're going to be able to immediately identify it. And it's going to be in the shape of a best friend wanting to go have a drink. And you're not wanting to say no, because you don't want to lose the relationship, or you don't want to affect the relationship, or at least you don't want that friend to think differently of you. Or you don't want that friend to think you are on a diet because you've been on so many diets before and they know you failed so many times before. So you're going to give into that drink because you don't want to look a certain way to that person. You don't want to be perceived a certain way to that person. Who's ever had that? Guys, sometimes we need to use the people in our life. We have to strain their potential to believe in us. Because if you don't believe in yourself, sometimes go to that friend. Tell them, I know I've tried 100 times, but I am ready to try again. Please help me. Can we rather go have a coffee? I'm going to have a decaf because I'm saving my caffeine for my pre-trainer because Jock said I can only have so much caffeine per day. Okay, so please help me. Let's go have a coffee. I promise you, if this person is worth keeping in your life, they will help you. And if they do not help you, that is also good information. Okay, guys, that's it for this. Any questions for this coaching session? Any questions you guys have? No one. Hunters, I think Hunters has a question. Oh, he says yes, he has a question. Hunters, yes. I'm kidding, Hunters. Yes, Eugene has a question.
Jock, I just want to add to your triangle, right? You're in neutral, and then you take action, and the next thing is you get the skill.
Resistance.
Resistance.
And surrender. So you have to surrender.
Surrender.
You have to the suck. It is neutral, active, passive. So there's an actual surrendering to the suck, and that makes you overcome the thing that you're overcoming, and that is what's going to create that new shape. Dit is wat die meel in die water 'n pasta maak, die pressure. As jy deur daai pressure gaan, jy moet surrender deur daai masjien wat jy gaan druk. Okay, so that, and then you go back to neutral. That is the law of creation. So it has to go through pressure in order to become something new. And also, guys, if you go through this process of pressure, understand it's creative creation, because you're creating something that did not exist. Has Eugene, yes, no?
43.
Okay. 43 het Eugene op 43 wat 120 kilogram weeg met die challenge wat hy nou het al ooit exist in mankind. No, you are completely unique. You just created a new experience for everyone around you. An experience nobody would have had. An experience that adds to the collective. An experience where you can now give more than you could 10 months ago. Am I right?
Yeah.
Through a creative process of putting yourself under pressure, you have created something that is going to add more positive value to the world than it could 10 months ago. So looking back at everything you struggled with, that is the beauty of a transformation. It has to be hard because that is the gift. Overcoming is the gift. That is the thing that creates the new gift that now can expand. And I promise you, the moment you start expanding, like we just said, you're going to hit the new thing that's going to form the new gift that is going to expand you even more.
Something that's strange.
Yes.
You say it has to be hard. And it's hard in the moment, right? But if I look back at the past 10 months, wasn't that hard?
No, it wasn't.
But when it happens, that moment when it happens, that's hard. But looking back, everything that I've overcome, it's not hard. It's easy.
But do you know why?
No, tell me.
Because you now have the skill. Because when you were there, you did not have the skill. Yeah. Jy moes deur dit strompel. Jy moes deur die donker loop en die lig soek. En nou die tweede keer wat jy deur die donker loop, weet jy ook die lig is hier aan die regterkant. Die 10de keer wat jy deur die ding loop, deur die donker vertrek loop, gaan it comes automatic. And that is why, don't move the light for yourself, don't make it hard. Gaan na die volgende donker kamer toe, soek die lig daar. Moenie vir dieselfde lig gaan soek in dieselfde vertrek nie. Okay, like you've overcome that. Move on to bigger issues. Take on more because you've expanded as a person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot.
Beautiful. Any other questions, guys? I think someone else did have a question. Vaughn, yes.
Hallo. Skus man, soos ek laas in die vorige meetup het gesê, ek was al hier op gewees en ek weet hoe die goed werk. Een van die challenges, ek het ook so, ek dink ek het jou van nou net weer gesê het, ek bel jou in die ou gulp jou, want ek nou net 2 kilogram, en ek het dit definitief verloor, definitief gedoen, met jou en as jy nou kyk,
Ek wou niks sê nie.
ja, 3 maande 25 kilogram, dis 2 kilogram 'n week, maar 2 kilogram 'n week klink nie baie nie, maar 3 maande 25 kilogram klink amazing. Jy weet, dit is presies dieselfde ding. Maar my vraag nou is, ek is nou deur my eerste week en ek sal nie seker 100% reg geëet nie. Ons het ongelooflik hard gewerk. Hierdie week, maar ek het baie naby aan reg geëet. Ek het baie hard geoefen. Jy weet, ek het laat die aand by die huis gekom, kom ek 10 uur eers van die gig af, dan doen ek die oefening. Wat ek wil vra is, ek het glad niks verloor nie. Ek het actually gegain. Beautiful. Week, né? Maar is dit dalk spiermassa wat ek nou gegain het?
I want you guys, I love this. Just before you go on, I want to just quickly unpack what you've said now. This is a beautiful example, Vaughan, and I'm so glad you're saying this. Can you see that immediately when we want to focus on the wrong thing? Immediately when we want to focus on the wrong thing, because you already said the lowest hanging fruit is you did not eat 100% correctly. You already said you did not do all your training sessions. So there's already things you can improve on. But now you look at the result and you want to know if it could be muscle mass gain or it could be something else. But the thing is, you need to surrender to the thing that you have control over. You do not have control over the glycogen storage amount. We can sit and we can debate what it possibly could be. It could be water, it could be this, it could be, well, how can we get the result? We have to consistently do the thing we can control. So you already answered your question. You should not even look in that room of what it could possibly be, because we cannot know. But what we can know is there were 2 meals you didn't eat correctly. There were 1 session you still needed to get to. Does that make sense? So you have to focus on what you have control over. And when you do 7 days of perfect nutrition, 7 days of perfect training, and your result is what it is, then you need to surrender to that. Because Vaughan, if you come to the table and you give everything you've got, then you will never leave unhappy, regardless of the result, because what you gave will be the best you could give. Then you'll take the result and you will project it forward, because can you ever do better than your best? No,
not exactly.
You can't do better than your best. But did you do your best this week?
The best of what I could do, yes, I would say that, yes. I mean, there's
opportunity for improvement?
The hours was, there's opportunity for improvement, but the hours was ridiculous.
That's where you stop that conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
You don't go into the ego. You don't go into the personality trying to justify what this could be. You stay out of that room, because that room is going to cause you to get demotivated. Because now you're going to come soek iets wat nie daar is nie. Jy gaan iets gaan soek wat nie daar is nie. Los daai vertrek. Los die deur toe. What you need to do is you need to go, okay, what have I done? How can I improve? Send my stats in, surrender to the process, book a call with Jock. But then what is Jock going to say? He's going to say, send me all your meals.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to say. He's going to say, okay, let's do an escalate accountability. And then he's going to put you in the position to now check every single thing so that you can become aware of the problem, because you're going to get the answer, because that is why I'm here. That is our job. Okay. I saw Nazette. Seems like you have a question, Nazette.
So I'm sure a lot of people around the table already knows the answer, but I've never eaten breakfast in my whole life. I don't like eating breakfast. So now today I ate breakfast at around 11 o'clock. Then I got extremely busy at work. So I have not eaten a second meal today as yet. And I've now gone past that extreme hunger as well. So I'm going to sit down and have a meal now. Is that wrong? Should you eat at least whatever you should eat in a day?
I'm going to answer that from a few perspectives. Now, the moment you start feeling that incredible hunger and you start postponing the time you get to your next meal, whether it's by design, because you consciously want to do that to decrease your calorie, or whether it's by accident because you got busy, at some stage your cravings are going to become out of hand and you're going to start binging. It works now because your calorie deficit becomes too big. But now what happens is your body is getting to at some stage, your body's going to get into a situation where the deficit's too big, you're working too hard, your energy is going to drop, you're going to feel your emotional resilience will drop, and that means decision-making fatigue, actual mental decision-making fatigue, which means you're going to give up. You're not going to have the resilience. You're not going to have the mental, emotional stamina to push through. So I'm not saying eat all your meals, because you will in the education system or in the education curriculum learn, Carla says, eat till you are full. Eat till you are 8 out of 10 full. Don't eat until you feel, I kan nie meer nog 'n ding eet nie. But also don't skip nutrients. Don't say, I'm going to skip my protein. I'm just going to eat the broodjie because I like brood. I'm going to skip the protein. Like, eat everything in balance up until you are full. Okay. But now, if you do want to eat later in the day, that is 100% fine. Because now let's use a little easy math for me. Come on, say you've got 2,000 calories for your body to maintain where it is, and we go into a deficit of 500 calories for you to come down to a certain level. Now, if you now decrease those calories to 1,000 calories per day because you started skipping meals and you're eating late in the day, we're going to run into problems because the deficit becomes too big. But now, if you only eat late in the day, you still get to all your meals and you're still on 1,500 calories per day. You're still going to come down the way you need to, because now, because of your goal, it's not muscle gain. Muscle gain, you have to be in a calorie surplus and you have to get a certain amount of protein every, I think it's about just over 4 hours. You have to get a certain amount of protein. In your case, we are maintaining lean muscle mass. In your strategy, we are bringing down body fat. So we're still in the first phase of the transformation, where it's about maintenance of lean muscle mass, reactivation, and fat mass coming down. So in your case, you can even eat all 3 meals just before you go to bed, because at the end of the day, you're still in a 500 calorie deficit. So a lot of people say, don't eat after 6. Don't eat before you go to bed. Look, if you eat that much before you go to bed, you're going to struggle to sleep because your maag gaan baie vol wees, over full. Okay, but you will still over time lose weight because you're still in an overall calorie deficit. It's about 24-hour calorie deficit as well as 7 days per week. Over time, those 500 adds up, and then you start losing the body fat because you're also using the lean muscle or the muscle, so because you're actually training as well. Does that answer your question? So try to get to your meals. It doesn't matter when you do it during the day, but try and get to your meals, because also that's going to give you the mental, emotional, and physical stamina at the end of the day. Okay. Now, also because you're eating healthy and whole food based, the quantity is going to be more. So if you feel the quantity is too big, experiment with the different options. Eat other options, and that's why we give so many options, so that you don't feel as full. Or even go for the fruits rather than the carbs and use those fruits as snacks during the day. That's also perfect. Play with your food, and if you are unsure, ask us so Carla can guide you, because this is a hand-taking process. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Any other questions, guys? Anyone else has anything else they want to add? Or excellent, guys, thank you so much for this beautiful session. I want you to afterwards, tomorrow when the replay becomes available, whenever you feel resistance, please go watch this again, because that is the point. It's the point. We need to feel the resistance, because that's what causes the transformation. Okay, guys, have a beautiful evening. That's it for this coaching session. I can't wait to see you in the app. And please, after this, I'm going to do a poll. Please give me feedback on the session on the poll in the newsfeed. All right.